Well, Joseph, he knew. He was in D-Day.
I'm sure he did.
So he knew. He knew those things.
He did. He must have been a fabulous gentleman.
He is and was.
What I was telling you before about descriptive. Very rarely have I read where someone, someone, either an author or a reporter or someone in that vein. Rarely have I read. It's amazing. I'm reading here again. I'm going to have to put down everything, and I'm going to have to read this again now. Rarely have I read such descriptive ways of it's being redundant, of describing items or people or things happening.
It goes right to the heart.
It goes. This goes between the lines. Just I hate to do this, but I have to just read these two passages. It's very short. Agree that this is from what this one is from. Which this is my very favorite of all the stuff you sent me, which is whistles more than sounds. Listen to this. A Great Lakes oarboat, gliding up the Black Rock Canal toward Tonawanda, is asking that the Ferry Street Bridge be lifted. A flute-like note, clear but shy, in huge contrast to the boat's 76 trombone bellow, is the bridge tender's acknowledgement. But pulling a whistle cord does more than cause sounds. I rarely have I ever heard such way of writing. I mean, really.
Well, very rarely have I ever heard of a heart of yours that receives it. A heart like yours that receives it.
You have to, not you, I'm not saying you, but I mean people or anybody that was reading this.
What page was that, Joseph?
This would be page 6, I believe. The article is Whistles More Than Sounds.
Oh boy, yeah. Isn't it beautiful?
What this does is really gives a descriptive read, I guess, if you would excuse the pun, no pun intended, but it really gives such a descriptive way of describing the buffalo, the area, what's going on. A train is pounding through Depew toward Central Terminal. Presently, the whistle speaks again. From the other side of the city, a whistle voice hits a bass note stoutly. The full-toned blast, pompously deep and demandingly loud, lasts for several seconds and is repeated immediately. Wow! Is that tremendous writing or what?
Yes.
Or what?
And tremendous appreciation on your part.
What? Here. Now here, this is called specialized dates.
Yes.
Monday's date was quite singular, with just one figure on its star. No excuse for a digit mix in writing 6666. A certain interval is set between the days this pattern's met. We've seen 11 years arrive since we wrote 5555. And now we must wait patiently through the years for the chance to see, after another 11, 7, 7, 7, 77. Is that great or is that great?
Yeah, that's great.
I'll tell you, this gentleman must have been something else. I'm sorry to say that, but he must have been. Wow.
Oh, isn't it too bad? The
whistle in the night sharpens pictures of New York Harbor, stored from hundreds of views, and one of the Golden Gate and La Havre, which clasp to memory from a single day. It refreshes the happiness of a Great Lakes cruise.
Indeed it does.
I mean, really.
Yeah. Can you find the one about the visitor, the night, the moon?
Yeah, let me. Yes. Oh, here. Oh! Look at this now. I didn't see this before. I thought I saw everything, but I didn't. All Rights Reserved. Published by the Black Academy Press.
Yes.
135 University Avenue, Buffalo 14214.
Yes, he was connected with the State University of New York at Buffalo.
Oh.
And he knew my physics professor. I was a graduate student in physics at the State University of New York at Buffalo.
Is that right?
Yeah. And
Oh.
and it was this physics professor that introduced Franklin to the Black Academy Press.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, he was from Ghana, I believe, someplace like that.
And the
I'm
book,
trying to find the visitor one.
Something of Love to Glendora.
Yeah.
He's going to speak that very nice.
Yes.
That is nice. Something of Love by Franklin Buell. Let me see, introduction. Oh, I didn't. Somehow, here's another 2 paragraphs I missed. The introduction. I don't know how I could have missed that. But here, the story. This is what I thought it was. The following pages have been put together because of a belief that giving special attention to good folks and to thoughts about good things is such a good habit.
Good going.
High priority. So every reporter's through every reporter's years. The stories are about people who aren't in the newspapers regularly. Ah, see there, he hits on everything. Wow, he really knows this gentleman. But who do much to express the dearest and most solid qualities of people. The poems and other pieces, I beg your pardon, are the result of watching, listening, and dreaming, the natural result of life filtering through the heart. Although not set in a chronological order, the items flow across a 12-month span, from spring through the seasons to another spring, like life itself. They will mean something different to every reader, but hopefully will bring to each a warmth of assurance and a desire to look more closely at the beauty of the world around.
That's good.
Is that good or is that is great?
Yes, doing that instead of complaining.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
How about the Daily Way?
That was excellent, yes. That was excellent.
To write in a constructive vein, seeing in diverse words he hears, some grains of universal gain, to play above the hate and jeers.
Yeah, yes. Yes,
Wow.
yes. I'm trying to find the one on the moon.
Here's the one about Morris Littman.
Oh?
The one about, this is tremendous, 51 and a half Taylor Street, Buffalo. About how he's keeping alive an almost eclipsed hand skill. Where Stevens Duryea engines were made for almost 50 years. Let me see.
Yeah,
how he likes to fix things up and bring them back to usefulness.
isn't that lovely?
That's a tremendous. Is he lilacs?
Yes,
Ready to help. May Dawn. Franklin. Oh, I see what Now I see why. Now I'm beginning to get a real understanding of why he wrote from May. When he wrote from May to May.
What? Why?
Reason being that in April and May, that's the springtime. And the spring is like a new dawn.
Oh, okay.
In the springtime, the earth or the area renews itself. Now I understand. It takes about 5 times for me to read something, but now I understand the way he thinks. The way he thinks.
Well, I'm thrilled that you do read it 5 times.
Songsters. Here's another one. It's very short. Songsters. All birds a wing at dawn in May. There's the underlying theme again, May.
Yes.
When spring's perfume is sweet, festoon the night-washed air with glee-throated streamers that notably declare, for happiness replete, and clearly say, you too should sing. How about that?
Read the one to me on page 39.
Let me see now. I have clear-sighted friends.
No, keep going.
I got, if you don't do as much as you can, you're wasting your time.
No, that's very good. No, keep going.
I love that. That has got to be the best. And the Philip Sheridan School in Kenmore. Oh, that's outstanding. Wait a minute now. Here, wait.
39, page 39.
39. Largas, rainbows.
Nope, keep going.
Jack has always helped people. Okay.
Keep going.
Let me keep going. I've got outline. That's outline of May, cause and effect, green cushion. Wait a minute. Let me see what I got over here now. Wait a minute. Let me see.
39, page 39.
Yeah, wait a minute now. I got that right here. Let me see.
What page you on?
I'm on. This really is not in any order, so I'd be a little bit missed. I've got May 30th. I've got whistles. Wait a minute. Let me look on the other side here. Wait. Specialized dates.
No, we passed that one.
Past that one. All right, now wait a minute. Maybe I don't have that part.
Okay, I'll read it to you.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is on page
39?
Yes. Okay, it's called The Visitor.
Okay.
Making a midsummer call. He is no bother at all. He doesn't talk. Never eats. Never takes the softest seats. Though he may come late at night, there's no need to leave a light. He doesn't mess up a bed. Requires no planning ahead. Careful not to stay too long. He seems to do nothing wrong, but all that does not reveal the key to this guest's appeal. It's his smile through a window frame that makes you glad the full moon came.
Wow. Wow.
That's a darling poem.
That is really nice.
Yeah, that's a darling poem.
You know, when he wrote either like short stories or a collection of poems, or what he did was he was very descriptive when he wrote. I find he was very descriptive.
Yeah.
There's an underlying theme of May, and I'm sure I'm putting myself in his mind now, or I should say his mind's eye, I guess you might say. But there seems to be a recurring or underlying theme of April, May especially, and I firmly believe that I know the reason why for May, because May is like a
rebirth.
A rebirth of the seasons again.
Yeah.
Everything dies in winter, but everything comes alive again in May.
Isn't that wonderful?
Isn't that a wonderful?
Yes, it is.
Thing?
What a great theme for him to keep expounding.
And one of the things I'm taking this poem over to the
National Cemetery.
National Cemetery we have over here in Calverton, and I'm going to place this on the bulletin board there.
Oh.
And I'm going to do it just before
May 30th.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I am so glad that Yeah, I really wasn't sure, but Franklin he's seen the world. He really has seen the world. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get I guess, how you say, a better understanding, seeing the world through his eyes, I guess you might say, or the way he...
Yeah.
way he expresses things. He has a tremendous, and well, you would know better than I, but he seems to have a tremendous like effect or an appreciation. That's the word I'm trying to think of. An appreciation of May 30th, which is a Memorial Day.
Oh yes, they always sent him to do the Memorial Day parades.
Did they really?
Oh yes, yeah, because he was so good at it.
Oh.
See, nobody ever wrote like that for a newspaper.
I'm sure that they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they didn't.
And all the things that you say about him, his observation and his expression, they all fit in with the fact that he didn't talk much.
Really?
No, he didn't talk much.
Talk when he had something to say, though, he would say it.
Yes, but he was doing that observing, very deep observation, and so he wasn't distracted by talking.
That's what, with several of these pieces which I just read, it seems that's what it seems like. He watches, waits, and then in the one piece I read here, he watches, waits, and then at the how should I say, the appropriate time, I guess you might say.
Yes. It comes out.
That then he would speak.
Yes. That's
Believe
right.
me, I'm sure that if he had something to say, to you, he would tell you what it is. Am I right in that?
You mean?
In other words, if he had something to say.
You mean a passion? You mean a passion?
About a passion, or if he wanted to make something known, I'm sure he would say it. Isn't that the case?
You mean an access, like an access of fury or anything?
Anything for that matter. I think that he would, if he had something to say, he would say it. He would tell people up front. I think it seems to be the case there anyway, from what I'm reading here. And I think that's an excellent quality. Excellent.
No.
And I'm sure that he had things to say in print too. That I would love to.
Yeah, that's where he said them. He said them in print. He didn't say them orally.
Aha.
Mm-hmm. No, he was same every day.
Really?
He was the same every day.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he always dressed up.
That's.
Always wore a suit and a tie. And
you don't get that today at all. That's something which is sadly lacking in today's world.
Yeah.
You know, he must have been quite a gentleman.
And he was always red-cheeked and blown by the weather.
I can see that in his picture here, in what you sent, in the introduction, and the way that and his picture, they just seem to exude that. Yeah, they really do. Yeah,
and laugh. Nobody could laugh more or harder than Franklin.
Is that right?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. He had a great sense of humor. He was the best audience I think David Letterman ever had the night we went down there.
I'm sure of that.
Yeah, he just laughed and laughed.
I'm sure of that.
He was really good.
I'm sure of that. Wow. Wow.
And when he would see somebody, he always had a very sweet, brief, and kind and loving smile.
You don't meet people like that. That's not an everyday occurrence. That's for sure.
You could see that he had something in his heart for them.
I can see that just from looking at the picture of him in these articles that you had sent me. He originally came from Connecticut. Am I right?
Yeah, he was born in Torrington. His father was a mathematics teacher.
Is that right?
And he moved around to several schools throughout Connecticut, Granby, Massachusetts, and
really? Oh.
And then his father. Did you ever? Well, no. There's a plantation lady in Florida.
Okay.
She owned a plantation, inherited, of course, from generations, and she wanted to start a school in the backwoods of Florida for the boys and girls.
Right.
Well, really, it was boys, and it was called the. Anyway, she was very good at raising money, and she had Mrs. Harvey Firestone come to the school.
Oh, wow.
and she had Mrs. Henry Ford. Mr. and Mrs. Henry Ford came to the school, and they donated a great deal of money. And Franklin's father they were always fans of the Dodge motor car, and Franklin's father had a new Dodge, a 1932 Dodge.
Wow.
And when Mr. and Mrs. Henry Ford came to the campus, Franklin's father drove Mr. and Mrs. Ford around in the new Dodge. Martha Berry was her name.
Wow.
And that was a wonderful thing she did. She gave an education, a secondary school education,
wow,
to those boys who never would have had any kind of education. They had no public school, in other words.
I see.
Yeah, Martha Berry. Wasn't that nice?
That is nice.
And so Franklin and his mother and his father and his brother were down there. He was there in about the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades.
Wow.
His father taught mathematics.
One thing I didn't understand, maybe you could clear it up a little bit. There was in the where it says here about the author in the first part of the book. It says in 1968, Mr. Buell was at the Medill. It looks like the Medill School of Journalism.
Yeah, Northwestern University.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, that was through Henry Ford, too. That came through the Henry Ford Foundation. They went to the newspapers, and they asked the editors for a very special reporter to partake in this course. And so he, for about, 6 weeks maybe.
About 8 weeks. 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, they went all over the country. They were at the newspaper in Portland, Oregon.
Really?
Yep, and they were at other newspapers. And he was one of these people.
Oh, well, that's quite a.
Yeah, it was quite an order. The Buffalo News sent him.
Now we're at Northwestern is in Chicago, is it not?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, so he actually had to go there.
Yes, he was there for some of the time. Yes.
Oh, wow.
And what they were really reporting on was urban blight.
Really? Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes, how the richer people or the well-to-do people would move out of a city and go into the suburbs. Also the tax base for the city, you see.
Oh, I see.
And then lower income people would come in,
Right.
and rent or buy the houses, and they did not really have the money to keep them up. And so this is what started the urban blight. It hit the cities on 2 ways. One, as I told you, the tax base.
Right.
And 2, on the fact that these people could not keep up the property.
I see what you're saying, right?
Yeah, and the cities, all of them, all over the country, decayed, particularly in the Northeast.
Right, that's very true, yes.
And also, they were hit by the factories moving out and going overseas.
Right. Oh, boy.
And they lost their tax base there.
Wow.
And so that's why the cities have gone downhill so badly.
I'll tell you, that particular seminar was really way ahead of its time.
Yes, and it was sponsored by the Henry Ford Foundation.
That was really... I kind of get the idea that Franklin was ahead of his time. I kind of get that idea from reading and listening, and I think he was way ahead of his time insofar as predicting about what would happen eventually, after...
The visionary, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Yeah, that's what it seems like to me anyway, because it's incredible, really. I'm wondering why, I guess it must have been this looks to be about 1971. Why at that particular time did he take the time to write this book? Was there a reason for that?
Of course, the book was already written. All he had to do was to compile it.
Oh,
Everything in this book was already written in the Buffalo News.
Oh, I see.
Either the report,
right,
or the poem. They were already written.
I see.
And he was very careful, and I still have that today.
Really?
He has everything he ever written in 3-leaf notebooks, right. And he has about 70 of them, and that's part a big part of the museum, the Glendora Franklin Museum.
I gotta read that when I get up. When I get there, I gotta read that.
Well, but
I would love to read that. I will have to read that.
Come and see them, but there are 70 volumes.
Wow.
You know, a 3-ring notebook?
Okay.
Yeah, a 9 by 12, 8.5 by 11 3-ring notebook. There are 70 of those.
So actually, what this may be then is a compilation of
it is
of years of journalism insofar as or reporting.
Yeah.
On both newspapers, probably either the Buffalo Evening News.
I wanted to know. I didn't see anything there from the Springfield Union, or did you?
No, I didn't, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they're all from the Buffalo News, aren't they?
Yes. Was he was at the Springfield Union first?
Yes, 10 years.
10 years. Oh, he was there a while.
When he was graduated from Boston University.
Oh, wow.
In 1948.
Wow.
When he started there.
So then he went over to Springfield, and then he went...
Then he went to Buffalo.
Then he spent his years in Buffalo. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he spent 27 years in Buffalo.
Wow. That's a while.
Yeah, and he retired in 84.
That's a while. Wow. Those must have been... That really is something. This appears to be a compilation of short stories and...
No, they are reports.
Reports?
They're newspaper articles.
I see.
No, he didn't sit down and write them. It was a living. That was his living, writing. Oh. His cell phone must have given out. All right, that's at 7 after 4 p.m. on January the 28th. Now that's too bad his cell phone gave out. Well, that was an excursion, and I am deeply grateful for it. That was a jewel. Thank you, Joseph M. Cronin, Jr., in Lindenhurst, Long Island. Thank you for appreciating Franklin Buell. Thank you for giving your heart to him. And these newspaper articles, you see, were written under a deadline pressure. You know, he had no time to spend days choosing words. He had to come back with his notes and sit down at a typewriter and write them spontaneously. He didn't have time to pore over them and choose the right words. They all had to make the deadline. They were the day's stories. That's what newspaper men call them. They call them stories. And Franklin said he always said that he had the best job anybody could have. He didn't like to be called a journalist. He wanted to be called what he was, a newspaper man. And he would come home every night. He would cut out his articles he had written, and he would, with rubber cement and very fine paper, he would paste them into the pages of his 3-ring notebook. And he had usually 2 notebooks a year, January to June and June to December, July to December. And we have those today, and we are preserving them. My deep appreciation from heart to heart to you, Joseph Cronin, for giving Franklin the accolades that he so justly deserved. And Franklin was a churchgoer, as his mother and father were. All the 60 or 65 years they were married. Again to you, my love, Franklin Fuller Buell.